Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Dreamers Code, and in this video we will learn the complete HTML. So first let us see the introduction to HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is the most widely used language on the web to develop web pages. Hypertext means a special text which has a link to other resources in the internet. HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages that is used to mark the contents and then tell the browser how to display them on screen. It describes the structure of a web page. HTML is a markup language that our browser understands and know how to display them. HTML elements tell the browser how to display the content on browser. So we'll see the HTML elements in detail when we move further in the video. Next we'll see the history of HTML. So HTML was invented by the Tim Berners-Lee in 1991, and then there were few more releases like HTML 2.0 was published in 1995, HTML 3.0 was invented in 1997, and the major release HTML 4.0 was published in 1999. HTML 5.0 was released in 2014. It is said to be the extended version of HTML 4.01, which was published in 2012. Next, we'll do some basic environment setup, and for that we need two things, that is a browser and a code editor. So I'll be using Chrome browser, and you can use any browser of your choice, and I'll be using Visual Studio Code editor. So you can use any code editor of your choice like Sublime Text, Brackets or Notepad++, but for this course I'll be using Visual Studio Code. So if you want to download it, you can download it from code.visualstudio.com. So for Windows you can download it from here, and if you are using some other operating system, so you can download the installer from here. Next, after downloading this code editor, you will get this kind of a screen. So this is the Explorer tab where you can see all your folders and files. So currently we don't have any folder, we don't have any project, and here this is the Extensions tab where you can download or install your extensions. So first we will install the Emmet extension. So I have already installed it. You can install it by clicking on the install button. Next, we want the live server extension. So you can install it from here. So you have to just click on the install button. So after installing these two extensions, we'll create a new folder. So for example, we'll name it HTML course, and we'll open it in our code editor. So now you can see our folder in the Explorer tab, that is HTML course. So for creating a new file, you can click on this icon, and for creating a new folder, you can click on this icon. So first we'll create a new file. So for example, we'll name it index.html. So basically we give the name index to the first page of our website, or we can also call it as a home page. Next, we'll write HTML:5, and you can press the tab button, or you can directly click here and you will get this boilerplate. So this is the basic HTML structure. So this is our basic boilerplate. So you don't have to type every line of code. So with the help of Emmet plugin, you get it ready-made. So you have to just type HTML, or you can click here and you will get this boilerplate. So now this line, that is doc type HTML, This tag defines the document type and the HTML version. Next, this tag defines the language of the file, that is English. Next, we have a opening tag of head, that is head opening tag, and a closing head tag. So, this tag represents the document's header, which can keep other HTML tags like title, meta tags and link tags. So, we can change the title. So, for example, we will write HTML course. Next, we have a body tag. So, first we have the opening body tag and a closing body tag, and at the end we have the closing HTML tag. So, inside the body tag we have all the content of our web page. So, this tag represents the document's body, which keeps other HTML tags like heading tags, paragraphs. So, for example, we will write H1 and I will press the tab button. So, it will automatically complete the ending tag with the help of Emmet extension. So, now I will write here welcome to HTML course. Next, we will take some paragraphs and we will add some dummy text. So, now we have some dummy text, and now we will open it with the help of live server. So, now you can see our page. So, we have a heading tag, that is H1, and in that we have written the welcome to HTML course, and we have a paragraph with some dummy text. So, this is our web page. And we have a title HTML course. So, you can see it here. So, you can see the title here, HTML course. Next, we will see some basic HTML elements. So, first we will see the heading elements. So, first we have H1, and in heading elements we have from H1 to H6. So, this is H2 tag, and H3, H4, H5 and H6. So, in heading elements we have from H1 to H6. So, here we will write some content. This is heading element. I will copy this. So, these are the heading elements from H1 to H6. Next, we will see paragraph element, that is P tag. So, here I will write some dummy text. So, you can see we have a paragraph element. Then next we will see pre-formatted text. So, sometimes if you want the exact format as it is written in the HTML document, so at that time you can use the pre tag. So, for example, function test and alert, and here I want hello, and let us save this. So, now you can see it has printed the exactly same as it is in the HTML document. Next we will see line break tag. So, if I want this line to go on the next line, to shift on the next line, so for that purpose I will use the line break tag. So, you can see it has shifted to the other line. Then next, if I want it to shift on the other line from here, so I will write br space /. So, both the tags will do the same. You can write either this way or this way. So, they will do the same thing. Then we will see the horizontal line, that is HR tag. So, for example, if I want a horizontal line between the HTML that is the heading element and paragraph element. So I'll just write the HR tag, and you can see the horizontal line. So this is the use of HR tag. So before moving further in this course, I want to tell you few things about tags. So here you can see that we have a opening tag and a closing tag. So this is a one kind of tags, and the other one is BR and HR. So this tag does not have the closing tag. So this kind of tags, they are called as self-closing tags. Then next, I want to tell you the difference between tag and element. So now this paragraph, this is a paragraph element, HTML paragraph element when we read it as a whole. But when I read it single, so this is a opening P tag and this is the closing P tag. But when we read it as a whole, it is a HTML paragraph element. So I hope that you got the difference between the tag and element. Next, we will see the HTML formatting elements. But before that, we will see HTML comments. So HTML comments, they are not displayed in the browser. So whatever you write inside the comment, it will not be displayed in the browser, and you can use it to document your source code. So for example, if I write here HTML comment, and I'll write here HTML basic elements. So I can document my source code, that is, these are the HTML basic elements. Then next, I'll write another comment, for example HTML formatting elements. HTML formatting elements. So with the help of comments, I can document my source code, and it will not be displayed in the browser. So you can see it is not displaying in the browser. So in the formatting elements, first we will see bold text, that is bold element. So for that we use the B tag, that is B element. So I'll write here, this is bold text, and let us save this. So now you can see it is in bold. So for example, I will add this bold to only these two words. So now you can see this is bold text. Then next we will see the strong element. So for example, it is used to define the text that it is important. So for that we use the strong element. So for that, this is some important text, and here I will write the strong tag, and we'll add this text inside it. So let us save this. So now you can see this is some important text. So here I want it on the next line, so I will use the BR tag. So it is on the next line. You can it in the other way, like space and forward slash, so it will give the same result. Then again I will add here BR tag, that is line break tag, and we will see the italic element. So for example, I will write I tag, this is italic text. So now you can see we have our text in italic. So I will add here line break tag. Then we will see the emphasized element. So I will write, this is emphasized text, and here I will write the em tag. Okay, and we'll paste it in here. So now you can see the emphasized text, it is in italic. Then next we will see the mark element. This is, then we will use the mark element. Mark. This is marked text. So let us save this. So now you can see this is marked text. So I'll add line break here. So you can see this is marked text. Then next we'll see the small element. This is, then I'll add the small tag. Small text. So let us save this. So again you can see the small word, the small text, it is in small. So now you can see this is in small. Then next we'll see the deleted element. So this is, then I'll add the del tag, and here I'll write deleted text. So let us save this. So now you can see it is deleted, a line is going through the text. Then we'll see inserted text, that is inserted element. So this is, and I'll use the ins tag, that is ins tag, and I'll write inserted text. So this will appear like this, and this underline shows that this is an inserted text, and the underline tag, it also gives us the underline below the word. Then next we will see the subscript text. So for example, you have seen in chemistry we write H2O. So we have the 2 below the normal line. So we can write this with the help of subscript tag. So for example H, and then I'll write the sub tag, and I'll write 2 inside this, and O. So now you can see H2O, the 2 is below the normal line. So now you can see H2O. In the same way, if you want any alphabet above the normal line, so you can use the superscript. So for example, SUP tag, that is superscript text. So here I will write TH, and here I will write standard, that is 10th standard, and you can see. So here I will add BR tag. So now you can see 10th standard, the TH is above the normal line. Then next we will see underline. So for that we have the U tag, and I will write this is underlined text. So now you can see this is underlined text. So these were the few basic formatting elements. Next we will see block level and inline elements. So a block level element always starts on a new line. So for example, we'll take a P element, that is paragraph element. This is a para, and I'll copy it few times. So let us save this. So now you can see that all the paragraph they are starting on a new line, and the browser is automatically adding some space before and after the element. So paragraph element, it is a block level element. Then next we will see the example of inline element. So for example, I am taking bold element. This is bold, and then we will take italic element. So I tag. This is italic, and let us save this. So now you can see both the lines, they are on the same line because they are inline elements. So I just wanted to give you an idea about the block level elements and inline elements, because just now we have seen the formatting elements, and for bringing the text on the next line I was using the BR tag, that is line break tag. So here if I give BR tag, it is coming on the next line, but the space between the both the lines, it is less, and here you can see the space is more because the browser is automatically adding some space before and after the element, that is the block level elements. So there are many block level elements and inline elements, and we will see all of them as we move further in the course. Next we will see HTML links. So HTML links, they are hyperlinks, and with the help of links you can navigate to another document or some another URL. So we can create HTML links with the help of anchor tag. So this is the anchor tag with href attribute, and here you can place your URL. So for example, I can write here https://www.google.com, and here we will write the link name or the content. So we will write click here to visit Google. So let us save this. So now you can see here a link. So when I place my cursor on this link, it changes to pointer. So when the link is unvisited, it is underlined and blue, and when the link is active, it is underlined and red in color, and when it is visited, so now we are navigated to the Google, and when it is visited, it is underlined and purple in color. Next we can see attributes. So now when I click on this link, the Google is opening in the same window. So I can use the attribute target. So this target, it is an attribute, and I can use the value underscore blank. So now I will save this, and when I click on this link, it is opening in the new window. So these were the target attributes. So for target attributes, you can use different values like underscore self and underscore parent, and which opens the document in the parent frame, and underscore top, which opens the document in full body of window. So these are the few values of target attribute. Next we will see HTML attributes. HTML attributes. So now we have already seen the example of attribute. So attribute, this is the name of attribute and it contains a value. So for example, here I will take P element and I will write this is a para. So let us save this. So now you can see this is a para, and here I can write some attribute, for example align, and I will write here right, align the right. So now you can see it is aligning to right, or I can write here center. So it is aligning to center, or I can use some different attribute, for example title, and here I will write I am a tooltip. Let us save this. So you can see when I place my cursor on it, it is showing I am a tooltip. So now you can see the tooltip. I am a tooltip. So this is the attribute which is the name, and this contains some value. So these are the HTML attributes. Next we will see the HTML images. Images can improve the design and appearance of a web page. HTML image tag is used to embed an image in a web page. So first we will see the image tag. So this is the image tag. The image tag is an empty tag or a self-closing tag because it does not have a closing tag. It contains attributes only. The image tag has two required attributes, that is source attribute and alt attribute. The source attribute specifies the path of a image and the alt attribute specifies an alternate text for image. So for example, I have added two images in our folder. So I will give the path or I will give the name of our image. So I will give image1.jpg and here I will add some alternate text. This is a computer image. Okay, so let's save this. So now you can see our image. So for some technical reason or for some errors, if image is not displayed, then the alternate text will be displayed. So I will make here some error. So I will add a G. So now you can see the image is not displayed, but the alternate text is displayed. This is a computer image. So for any mistake like spelling mistakes or for some technical errors like slow speed of internet, so if image is not displaying, then the alternate text will be displayed. Then I'll add a new folder to our project. So we'll name it as images and I'll move these images to the images folder. So now you can see we have a folder with the name of images and our images are placed inside it. So now if I save this now, so now you can see the image is not displayed because now our path is wrong. So I have to add the path. So for that I will write images, that is the name of our folder, then / and name of our image. So let us save this. So now you can see we have image. Then next the source attribute and alt attribute, these are the required attribute for image tag. But you can also add some other attributes like width and you can give 100 pixel, then we can write height and we can give it 100 pixels. Let us save this. So now you can see the image is small. Then we can also write this with the help of style attribute. So first I will take the style attribute and then height and then I will give it 100 pixel and then width colon 100 pixels and I will save this. So it will give us the same result. So this was all for HTML image. Next we will see the HTML lists. So HTML allows us to group a set of related items in a list. So first we will see the unordered list. Unordered list. So for that we use the UL tag and inside that we use the list item tag, that is LI. So first we will write here for example coffee, then we will add the another list item, that is tea, and then we will add milk. So let us save this. So now you can see we have 3 list items, of unordered list. Then we can also use some different styles. So for example, here I'll write style, and here I'll write list style type, and its value will be, for example, I'll use disk. So this is the disk by default. Then you can use circle. So now you can see circle. Then you can use square. So now you can see the square, and then you can also use none. None. So you can see here we have no style here. Then we will see ordered list. Ordered list. So for ordered list, so here I'll remove this, or for example I will add here disk style. So you can see. Then we'll see ordered list. So for ordered list we'll use OL tag, and inside that again we'll use the li tag, and we'll use coffee, and I'll copy this too and I'll paste it here. So now you can see we have 1, 2, 3. Then we can also style the OL tag, that is, so here we can give type is equal to A. So for first we will use the capital A. So you can see we get ABC. Then we will use small a. Then we get small ABC. Then we will use capital I. So let us save this. Now you can see we get Roman letters 1, 2, 3. Then we will use small I. So we get small Roman letters. And we can also use here 1. So you get 1, 2, 3. Then we can also have nested list items. So for example, here we have T. So here again I will add a UL, that is unordered list, and inside that I will add green T, and I will copy this and we will add here, for example, black T. So in the same way I will copy this and we will paste it here. So now we have nested list. So this was all for the HTML lists. Next we will see the HTML quotations and citation elements. But before moving further, in this video I want to talk about the div element. So div element is a block level element, and I have already explained you about block level and inline elements. Block level elements always start in a new line, and browser adds some space before and after the element, and inline elements does not start in a new line. Div tag or div element is used to create a division or a section in a HTML document. So when we create any web page or website, we often use div element for creating a new section in our HTML document, and likewise it is displayed on our browser. So in this video we are only learning the basics of HTML, but in the next video, in which we will create an actual web page using HTML and CSS, you can see the actual use of div element. And in the description I will provide you with the link of source code and notes, where I will provide you all the block and inline element list. So let us see the example of div element. So first we will see the paragraph. So paragraph is also a block level element. So you can see the paragraph. it is on the two different lines and having some space. Next we will see the bold and italic element. So they are in the same line, but when I place the bold and italic element in the div, they are in the two different lines because div is used to create a new section. So now you can see this is bold element and this is italic element. So when I place the bold element in a div element, so it is not coming in the same line because div element is used to create a new section. So that is what's the use of div element. So let's move to our next topic, that is HTML quotations and citation elements. So we will go through all the elements one by one. So first we will see block quote elements. So this is the example for block quote elements. So I will uncomment this. So in the example you can see that we have taken a P element and the paragraph is starting from its normal position, but the content inside the block quote tag, it is indented towards the right side and it is done by the browser. Then next we will see the Q element. So Q element is used for short quotes and the content inside the Q element is added inside the double quotations. So here you can see that we have not added any quotations, but here the browser is automatically adding the quotations. Then next we will see the ABBR element, that is abbreviation element. So let us save this. So when I hover my mouse on this WHO, it will display the full form of WHO, that is World Health Organization. Then next we will see the address element. So address element is used to display the address. So whatever is written inside it, the browser will render it in italic. Then next we will see the site element. So the site element is also similar, that the content inside the site element is rendered italic. So you can see the screen, it is in italic. Then next we will see the BDO element. So the full form of BDO is bidirectional override. So if you add the attribute dir, that is direction, and if you give it a value like RTL, that is for right, then the text will start from right to left. So here you can see we have written this text will return from right to left. So now you can see here this text will be written from right to left. Or if I give here LTR, so now you can see the original form, but when I write here RTL, so it is from right to left. Next we will see HTML colors. HTML colors are specified with predefined color names or RGB, hex, HSL or RGBA values. So let us see the HTML colors. So H1 and tomato, and we will give it a color with the help of color name. So we will use the style attribute and the value will be color and its name. So we will give the name tomato. So let us save this. So now you can see the tomato text, it is in tomato color. So I will copy this few more times. So here we will give, for example, orange, and we will give it the color orange. So now you can see orange. Then we will give Dodger blue, and the color will be Dodger blue. So let's save this. Then we'll give violet, and color will be violet. So there are many colors, but we will see only few examples. Then we will see the background color. So for that, again we will take H1 and I will write here background color tomato, and here we will use the style attribute and we will use the background color. So this is background color and we will give it a background color of tomato. So you can see here background color is tomato and the text is in black color. Then again I will copy this and we will give it some different color, for example medium sea green. So this is medium sea green and we will write here medium sea green. So you can see the medium sea green color. Then next we will give here background color violet and here we will give the violet. Okay. Then similarly we can also give background color to our paragraph. So you can, so for example we will take some dummy content and here I will add the style attribute and background color, and for example medium sea green. So let's save this. So now you can see. Okay. Then next we will see the colors for borders. So I will take H1 and we will give it some content border color. Okay. And here we will add the style attribute and we will add the border and here we will give 1 pixel solid red. So you can see. So here we will do it 2 pixels. So now you can see here. Okay. Then next we will copy it few more times. We will change the color to orange and gray. So now you can see the border colors. So this was the HTML colors. Next we will see HTML fav icon. A fav icon is a small image displayed next to the page title in the browser. So fav icon is displayed here. So this is our title and fav icon is displayed here. You can use any image you like as your fav icon, and you can also use websites like www.favicon.cc to create your own fav icon. So I have already created a fav icon and I have saved it inside our images folder. So now let us see how we can insert our fav icon in our website. So we have to go inside the head tag. So this is our head section and inside the head tag we will place our fav icon. So first we will take a link tag and inside the rel attribute here we will write icon, and then we will have another attribute that is type attribute, and inside that we will write image /x -icon, and inside the href we will give the path of our fav icon. So fav icon is inside the images folder. So here we will write images / and favicon.ico. So let us save this. So now you can see this is our favicon. Next we will see HTML tables. So HTML tables allow us to arrange data into rows and columns. So let us see the basic HTML table. So first we will use the table tag, and then we will have tr. So tr means table row. Then we will have th tag. So th means table headers. So first we will have name, then country, and for example then we will have age. So the full form of tr is table row and th is table head. Then again we will take the another tr, that is table row. Then we will have td tag. So td means table data. So here we will have for example John, then we will have td, and here we will have for example country name USA and age 23. Then we will again take another table row, then table data, and here we will give for example Sarah, and country name will be for example UK, age 22. Then we will take another table row, so tr, then table data. So here we will take for example Martin, and country name for example France, and table data. Then the age will be for example 22. So let us save this. So this is our basic table. So we can also add border to this table. So we will add border, and we will add 1 pixel. Okay. So now you can see we have border to our table. So this is the basic border. So you can also add borders and some other styling with the help of CSS. So for that we will go in the head tag. So this is our head tag, and here we will add our styling. So we will take the style tag, and first we will give table, comma th, comma td. So these are the selectors, and then we will add border, colon 1 pixel, solid, then red. Okay. So this is our table. You can also add any color, for example green. Okay. So we will give it blue. Then we can also add some border radius. So we will give border radius of 5 pixel. So now you can see this has border radius. So I will increase it just for demonstration purpose. So now you can see it is in circular shape. So we will make it to 5. Okay. Then we can also add some padding. So we will give selectors like th and td, and here we will give padding, for example 15 pixel. So let us save this. So now you can see this is our table. Then we can also give some spacing. So we will use selector table and border spacing, for example 5 pixel. So now you can see, so I will increase it by 10. Okay. So you can see. So this is the basic HTML table. So you can also add many styling to this table. So you can give some spacing between col span and row span. You can add many styles. Next we will see HTML classes. The HTML class attribute is used to specify a class for an HTML element. Multiple HTML elements can share the same class. So let us see the example. So first I will take a div element, and inside the div element we will take a paragraph, and we will take some dummy content, So this is our dummy content. So we'll copy this div 2 more times. Okay. So now we have 3 divs. Then I'll give a class to each div. So class, and the name of the class will be, for example, demo. So I'll copy this class name and I'll paste in the rest of the divs. So now we have 3 divs with the class name demo. So now we can style these 3 divs using the class. So we'll go in the head section and inside the style tag. So for class we use dot and the class name is demo. So this is our class selector. Then we'll give it some styling. For example, margin 10 pixel. So let us save this. So you can see it has shifted a little bit to right. Then we'll give padding, and padding will be 10 pixel. Okay. Then next we'll give background color, and background color will be, for example, tomato. So let us save this. Then next, color. So with the help of color we can change the color of text. So color will be Alice blue, and then we'll give border. Border will be 2 pixel solid black. So now you can see with the help of class we have just written the code once and the style is applied to the all the 3 divs. So this is the use of classes. Next we will see HTML ID attribute. The HTML ID attribute is used to specify a unique ID for an HTML element. So previously we have seen the HTML classes. So we can provide the same class name to the multiple elements, but in the case of ID you can provide only one ID to a single HTML element. The ID should be unique. So for example, here I'll, instead of class, I'll give ID, and we'll give the ID, for example, test. Okay. So now I save this. So now you can see all the styling from the first div, it is removed because we have changed it from ID, from class to ID. So now we'll again go inside the head section and we'll copy this, and instead of demo we'll use the class ID test. So for ID we use hash and our ID is test. So we'll give test, but you can see the styling has not applied because the ID, they are case sensitive, and we have given the capital T. So you can see we have used capital T. So here we'll provide capital T and we'll save this. So now you can see the styling has applied again. So here we'll change the color, background color, to medium aquamarine, and let's save this. So now you can see the ID attribute specifies a unique ID for an HTML element. The value of ID attribute must be unique within the HTML document. Next we will see HTML iframes. An HTML iframe is used to display a web page within a web page. So let us see HTML iframe in practical. So I have created a new page here, that is demo.html. So I will open this and show you. So this is our new page and its name is demo.html. So in this page we have a h1 tag. So here you can see we have h1 tag, welcome to new page, then hr, and then we have h2. This is a demo page for iframe element. Okay. So now we will see the iframe element. So we'll type the iframe tag, okay, and inside the source attribute we'll give the URL. So URL is demo.html. So let us save this. So now you can see a web page within a web page. You can also add some attributes like height. So for example, height will be 100 pixel and width will be 150. So let us save this. So now you can see, now it is having the height of 100 pixel and width 150 pixel. So we'll increase the width. For example, we will make it 350. So now you can see the width has increased to 350. Okay. So we'll remove this and we'll keep it by default. So let us save this. So this is the by default width and height. Next, you can also embed the maps with the help of iframe. So we'll go to maps and then for example, I'll search here Las Vegas. So this is Las Vegas and we'll go to menu and share or embed. Then we'll go to embed a map and this is the iframe code. So I'll maximize this so that you can see. So we'll go to menu and we'll go on share or embed and this is the iframe code. So we'll copy this HTML code and we can paste it here. So again we'll paste it here and let us save this. So now you can see we have a map. So we'll remove the first one. So now you can see we have a map. We can adjust the width and height. So for example, width will be 350 and height will be 250. So now you can see this is our map. So this was the iframe element. Next we will see HTML layout elements. So website often display content in multiple columns like in a magazine or a newspaper. So we will see HTML layout elements. HTML has several semantic elements that define the different parts of a web page like header element, nav, section, article, aside, footer and detail element. So let us see the layout elements in action. So first we'll take here H2 and here we'll write layout element, then we'll add some paragraph. So I'll add some dummy content and I'll copy this. Then next we'll take an header element, okay. Then inside header element we'll take H2 for cities. Then after header element we'll see section element. Then inside section we'll have a nav element and inside this we'll create our unordered list. So here we'll add London, names of cities. So we'll give Paris and Tokyo. Okay. Then we'll add article element. So inside the article element we'll add the city names, for example London, and then we'll have some paragraphs, so we'll add some dummy content. Okay, we'll copy this one more time, and then we'll have a footer. So after section element we'll add a footer. So first we had an header and now we are adding footer. So inside footer we'll give paragraph and we'll write footer. Okay, so now let us save this. So now you can see layout element, paragraphs, then in H1 we have some articles, that is cities, then we have section. So in the section we have this list item and few paragraphs, and then we have a footer. So now we'll style it with the help of some CSS. So we'll again go to the CSS and we'll style it. So first we'll add star and we'll give box sizing. We'll add box sizing. So in generally we give this in the starting. So we give it when we start our CSS, when we start our styling, but now we are going sequentially, so it is okay, we can write it here. So we'll give box sizing, border box, and then we'll give font for our body. So we'll use body selector and font family. For example, we'll give this. Okay, then so now let us save this. So now you can see the font has changed. Then we'll style our header. So for header we'll write the selector header and we'll style it. So for header we'll give first of all background color, and for example background color, okay, this one. So let us save this. So it is not looking good, so we'll add some different background color, for example gray. Okay, so let us save this. Okay, then we'll give padding 30 pixel, then text align, so we'll give it center, then font size and color. So font size 30 pixel and color will be Alice blue. Okay, so let us save this. So now you can see. Then we'll style our nav. So this is our nav element. So you can see here, this London, Paris, these are our unordered list item inside the nav element. So we'll style nav. So we'll give nav float left, then width and height, width 30 pixel and height for example 300 pixel. Then we'll give background and padding, background color, for example aquamarine, and color, so color will be black. Okay, so let us save this. So we'll increase the, okay, for some time it will look like this, but we'll set it. Then we'll set the nav ul. So we'll write nav comma ul and list style type none and padding 0, 0 pixel. So let us save this. Then we'll have article, and for article we'll add float left and padding 20 pixel. Then width we'll add it in percent, so 70%. Then background color, so we'll give background color of azure. Okay, so we are just giving some random colors. Then height will be 300 pixel. So let us save this. So now you can see we have some color. Then next we'll style our section. So we'll give section and after, then content colon empty, then display will be table, then clear both. So let us save this. Footer, now we'll give some styling to our footer. So background color will be gray, then padding 10 pixel and text align center and color will be white. Okay, now we'll add some media queries to make this responsive. So we'll write add media max width will be, for example, 400 pixel, and we'll write nav comma article, because we want to set this, because this unordered list is inside the nav and we want to set this nav and article. So we'll write width 100%, and height auto. So let us save this. So now you can see, so there is some, we have to set this unordered list. So for that we'll see it now. Okay, so we'll set this, for example, 100. Let us save this. So now you can see it is somewhat set. So when our screen size is 400, so you can see, so now I will maximize this, so you can see. So these are the layout elements, and when I decrease, so now the media query will not be applied, so it is applied on max width 400 and more than that. So now you can see here. Okay, so when it is less, it is becoming responsive, it is coming, everything is coming below each other. So when I will make it 400, so it is coming. Okay, so these were the HTML layout elements. So if you are confused with this styling, so don't worry about this. You can learn this in the CSS course. Next we will see HTML semantic and non-semantic elements. So a semantic element clearly describes its meaning to both the browser and the developer. So for example, semantic elements are form element, table element, article element. So for example, if we say header element, so it describes its meaning, that inside the header element there might be some header, and inside the article element there might be some article. Or for example, table element, so inside the table element we can create some table. So a semantic element clearly describes its meaning to both the browser and the developer, but the non-semantic element does not tell anything about its content. For example, div element. So div element does not tell anything about its content, it can contain anything. And the span element, within the span element we can write anything. So the name does not describe anything about its content to the browser and developer. So this is the difference between semantic elements and non-semantic elements. Next we will see HTML symbols. So HTML supports many symbols. So here we will see few symbols. For example, we will take a paragraph and we will write the for all symbol, for all symbol, and we can use the entity for it. So we will write and for all semicolon. So we will save this. So now you can see the for all symbol. Then you can also use the number for the same symbol. So we will use the number. So and hash 8704. So you can see we have the same symbol with the help of entity and with the help of number. Then we will see the symbol for summation. So we will use here p tag, the summation symbol. So first we will see with the help of entity. So we will write and sum. So you can see the summation symbol. Then we will use the number. So we will write and hash 8721 semicolon. So you can see the summation symbol with the help of entity and number. Then we will see some alpha beta symbols. So for example, the alpha symbol, first we will use the entity. So we will write and alpha. So now you can see the A symbol. Then we will use the numbers. So we will write and hash 913 semicolon. So you can see the alpha symbol. Then we will see the symbol for gamma. So I will copy this. So we will write here gamma. So first we will see with the help of entity. So we will write here and gamma semicolon. Let us save this. So now you can see the gamma symbol, and then we will use the number. So the number is and hash 915 semicolon. So now you can see the gamma symbol. Next we will see the copyright symbol. So I will type it, the copyright symbol. Okay, so first we will see with the help of entity, that is and copy semicolon. So let's save this. So you can see the copyright symbol, and then we'll see with the help of number. So the number is and hash 169 semicolon. So these are the few symbols. So there are many symbols that are supported by HTML. So these were the HTML symbols. Next we will see HTML forms. HTML forms are used to collect user input. So first we will see the form element. So this is the form element. So right now we don't need this action attribute. So we'll remove this. So this is the form element, and all the form elements are placed inside this form element. So then we'll see the input element. So this is the input element. Input element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type attribute, and these are the few examples. So now we'll save this. So now you can see the input element depending on the type attribute, and the value is text. So you can write your text here. Okay, so you can write your text here. So first we'll see few examples of input element depending on the type attribute. So I'll add here line break, and we'll copy this. So here we'll give password. So let us save this. So now whenever you type here, the letters will not be displayed because we are using the input type password. Then next we will use input type radio for radio button. Okay, so this is radio. So you can see. Then next input type checkbox. So now we have input type checkbox. Then next input type submit. So now we have a submit button. Then input type date. So now we have a date. Okay, then input type month. So now we have input type month. So these are the few examples for input type. Input elements can be displayed in many ways depending on the type attribute. So now let us create a basic form. So before that we'll also see the label attribute. So first we'll add label, and for user name, and we'll add here value, that is user name. So let us save this. So now you can see the user name. So we'll add here semicolon. Okay, then we'll have our input. So input type text. So let us save this. So now you can see the input type text. Then here we'll add our line break, and we'll add again one label for password. Okay, and here we'll add the value password. Okay, then we'll take again one more input with the type password. So now you can see we have created a basic form. Then we'll add a submit button. So input and submit. So this is a basic HTML form. So you can also style it with the help of CSS. Then we'll see some HTML form attributes. So for example, in the Input type, here I can use value attribute, and here I can give username. So now you can see this is username, and when I click here, and you can write your username. Okay. So this was the basic HTML forms. Next we will see HTML media elements. So in HTML media elements, first we will see the video element and then audio element. So for that, in our project I have added another folder with the name media, and I have added two files, one for video file and the other is audio file. So first we will see the video tag, that is video element. Okay. Then here we'll use the source element, and inside source we'll write the src attribute, and here we'll give the path. So media, that is the folder name, and nature.mp4. Then type will be video /mp4. Then I'll copy this one more time, and here I will add OGG, and here also I will add OGG. Okay. Then here, so first let us save this. So now you can see we have this. Then we'll add some message. So for some reason, if our video is not displayed, so if the browser does not support the video element, then you should get a message. So we'll write the message, your browser does not support video element. Then here we'll add some attributes like width, and width will be 350 pixels. Then height will be 250 pixels, and then controls. Okay. So now let us save this. So now we have our video. So this is our video. It is running. Then next we will see the audio file. So for that we will use the audio tag, that is audio element. Then here I will remove this src attribute, and I will copy this to save our time, and instead of nature we will add the music.mp3, and here also we will add music.mp3. So now we will change it to OGG, and here we will make it MPEG, or you can also write MP3, and here we will write audio, and here also audio. So now let us save this. So here we will add controls. So let us save this. So now you can see we have this audio. Okay. So we will reduce some volume. So these were the HTML media. So we have seen the video element and audio element. So guys, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel, that is Dreamers Code. It will take just a moment to subscribe a channel, but it will mean a lot to me.